The newest life series is here, and today I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about wildlife. We will discuss some early analytics, what we can expect from the schedule, wildcards, and more. If you don't know me, I'm Tara Molkoid, and I make fan content about all things life series and hermitcraft. You might recognize me from my series last year where I did recaps on each Secret Life session. While this new series doesn't need a weekly recap, I wanted to give some of my early thoughts and insights about this series. Grian introduces wildlife as the 6th life series to come out. A lot of people have been wondering about this because the mini one-shot series with the April Fool's virtual reality gimmick called Real Life also used the life series mechanic. Cleo won that mini series, and in her episode she says she kind of counts it as a win.
There's 4 of us. Final 4. We're making a point right now.
Final four. What do we do in that situation? That's really awkward then.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out later.
I mean, honestly, like, surely Impulse is the winner there. Like,
yeah, because us 3 have won.
That would be
before.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
if you guys want to hand it to me, I'm not going to say no.
I mean, does real life count? I feel like it counts, so...
Sure.
Sure.
If you wanted
don't think about it. Let's just get to Final 4. We'll figure it out.
I don't think it matters. It's never really mattered.
We'll all be winners at that point.
Yeah.
So while this is number 6 in the Life series, Cleo is considered a winner in her own eyes. This series also has the highest player count of any of the Life series. With Gem joining in Secret Life and Mumbo, Lizzie, Skiz, and Ren returning for this series, we have a total of 18 players. Each player starts with 6 lives, which means we will see 108 deaths, or 107 if we don't see the winner die at the end. This is still less lives than Limited Life, which saw 169 deaths. We also had a new death in Session 2 of Wildlife, which was Death by Hunger. Now let's talk about the gimmick. We all know that life series aren't as simple as 3 lives anymore and then you die. This season is called Wildlife because every session will have a wild card. The effects of this wild card will not transfer from one session to the next. In Session 1, we saw player size affected. Crouching resulted in player size shrinking and jumping made you larger. We saw some shenanigans and, to Grian's surprise, some deaths and close calls.
Distracted by, oh my gosh, that's a big hole. Ah! No! Oh! Oh! Oh, well, that's just awkward.
This was our first look at the way wildcards can have unintended consequences, good or bad. In this case, crouching on the side of a block would sometimes have you fall off of it. In episode 2, we see the wildcard being randomized food. Normal food increases the hunger effect while all other items in the game are now edible. I'll give my best explanation of how this wildcard works if you're curious. Items in the game will have a default coding asking if they're edible. The wildcard switched this to on for every single item. Then it assigned a random amount of hunger to heal, probably from like a -10 to +10 scale, and a random effect or noise. So we see some items giving poison, floating, a huge boost in food, or making the dragon noise.
I've got silk touch on. Wait, does grass do the same?
That was grass! That was grass!
With these 2 wildcards shown to the public so far, we can expect some even more wild things in the future. As the admin and the creator of these series, Grian has a huge amount of knowledge about what goes into each session. In this case, Grian has made it so that he knows all the wildcards and does have a small advantage.
Here's the thing I need to say before we even start this particular series is the twist every single session has actually been designed by me and thought of by me. Therefore, I have a distinct advantage over everyone else because no one on this list knows what the wild cards are except me. I know what they are, and if you've got a problem that I have an advantage, then you're in the wrong place because that's the only way that this works. Let's be honest. How can I make the series and not know? But to be honest with you, it really won't make a difference because everyone's going to figure out exactly what the wild card is pretty early in the session, and it won't make any difference whatsoever.
All other players have little to no knowledge, but Scar did mention that he gave a suggestion for a wild card, so it's possible other players' wild card ideas will be implemented in the future.
I suggested one, but I got no feedback, so I don't know if it was good, bad, or it got implemented or not, because Grian never gives you feedback.
In MCC on Saturday, Grian spoke about wildlife and the 3rd session's wildcard.
Oh, other than Session 3 of the Life series is my absolute favourite. Absolute favourite. All the money that is gone into this one. Like, it's really... I think it's going to be fun. I think everyone's going to enjoy it. It's a bit silly, it's a bit stupid, but I think it'll be the most memorable one, and I'm really excited. It's really challenging for me not to spoil it for all the other people, right? Because I obviously, and I've told everyone, I know what each wild card is because I have to, you know, take the time to develop it. And when I say develop it, I mean tell the developers what to do because I don't know how to code. But I'm working on it, right? And it's really hard not to tell them because they're my friends and colleagues, and I want to tell them, hey, guess what this one is? You're gonna love it. But I can't. There's nothing more valuable than their organic reaction to what I've got planned. So it's just challenging not to spill the beans.
So we can expect a big session 3, but what could it entail? Looking at the 2 wildcards we've had so far, I have a kind of idea where the inspiration for this series might have come from. In 2023, Minecraft released an April Fool's snapshot that was jokingly called the Vote Update. In it, players vote on different effects on the game. This snapshot allowed for all kinds of things, like going to the moon, or changing your size, or making food not edible. Do you see where I'm going with this? Both the wildcards so far may have been directly possible thanks to that snapshot. My prediction is that Grian will be putting a twist or combining other possibilities from the snapshot in his playthrough of it with his friends. I am not implying in any way that Grian has not been creative in the way he's implementing these wildcards. I just think the snapshot might have been some inspiration, and the tools that it gave the game may have helped make the series possible. Grian has also mentioned that as the sessions progress, we'll see more and more deaths, so the wildcards will be increasingly hard or increasingly change the game. In session 2, we saw this already with players who weren't able to figure out the food situation fast enough, starving to death. If I had to predict some elements from the April Fool's snapshot that could be used in future sessions, here are some I think are most likely. The God of Lightning power gives players the ability to summon lightning by left-clicking on a block or entity. This one would be pretty crazy once we have red lives, but it would mean having to get close to opponents, so that might toss up PvP. Haunted World randomly extinguishes candles, presses button, uses levers, opens doors, trapdoors, fence gates. This could be used in addition to another task to add some spookiness. Less Gravity had the overworld's gravity swap with that of the moon. This would add for some interesting fights. It might be a good callback to Season 8 of Hermitcraft. Midas Touch, anything the player touched turned to gold, so items in the player's hand, armor, touch mobs turned to gold, killed mobs drop gold blocks, stepped on blocks turned to gold. This one would really cause the players to be careful about what they do and could possibly compromise some of the items they've worked hard, which would just add an additional challenge for the next time they come back. Zombie Apocalypse made zombies, zombie villagers, and husks target, attack, and infect any non-zombie mob. When infected, they'll turn into zombies. This one I think is a little less likely due to the zombie tasks that happen in Secret Life, but I think adding more PvE would spice things up. Even if none of those happen, I'm excited to see what other wildcards end up being used and any other elements from the snapshot end up being used too. Let me know in the comments what you think of my analysis of that and if you have any wildcards you would like to see. Now, how many sessions can we expect? This season and possibly future seasons are now being released on Saturdays. With the first episode coming out October 19th, I would expect this season to last 6 to 9 sessions. That would have it ending at the end of November or beginning of December without feeling too rushed with the holidays. In Jimmy's first episode, he also confirms this.
A life series normally lasts about 7 weeks, 7 to 8 on average, isn't it? Like, a series lasts 7 to 8 episodes, doesn't it? Which entails is about 7 to 8 weeks. Isn't it weird that when this series eventually ends, which is funny I'm saying that when we've only just started it, it will literally be like a few weeks before Christmas. A couple weeks. A few weeks? A few weeks. Isn't that wild to think?
Given how many deaths we had in session 2, it might be looking like a shorter season. But I also think this is the kind of season where we could see the opportunity to gain a life back happening due to a wild card. We will just have to see what Grian has planned and what the creators want. Double Life is largely considered a lot of people's least favorite series, and part of that is because of how short it is, so I think the creators are aware that a shorter season is not always preferable, so I doubt we'll see only 6 episodes. If I had to guess, I would go with 8. I also just want to put out some guesses for the winner of this series. I think Ren has a pretty good chance with being paired with Martin. I think Impulse has a really good chance with his team, and I think Gem paired up with Joel is a really good combo for a possible win for those two. I of course would like to see someone new win, and I think everyone in the series is aware of that a repeat winner is not preferable. And that wraps up most of what you need to know for this season of the live series so far. If you're interested in a recap after the season ends, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. So far, I've been absolutely loving it, and I'm really enjoying some of the team-ups we got, like Grian, Mumbo, and Skiz, and Etho, B-Dubs, and Tango. Let me know in the comments who you're watching and what you're excited to see come in future sessions, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.